Today we are talking about how we could go about healing our insecurities so that our relationship will not feel the pressure of when we're not comfortable with something that's happening around us. A lot of times we're so insecure that we are looking for somebody else, most of the times our partner, to make us feel better and validate our feelings. And that can put a lot of pressure on a person, especially when that person has got other things happening in their lives. We don't want to have that much strain on the relationship. And this isn't to say that you can't share your feelings. But I think it's so important that we start to learn more about what to say and when to say it and how much to say, instead of, falling into the trap that we're hearing across social media and articles that your partner must be available to listen to every little thing, every little complaint that we've got. And this, again, is not to say that some things are not important. But what we really want to do is to be able to pause. In our pausing, we're healing. If we have this urge, this feeling of it's absolutely necessary to have this conversation because now we're scared that we're not feeling comfortable or our partner is going to leave for whatever reason, that's healing work that we need to do on ourselves, right? So we want to be able to learn how to slow down, how to pause, and ask ourselves what's really important here. Ask ourselves questions like, why am I feeling insecure? Is this from a past script of, going through these relationships where they end, or, the person may feel uncomfortable and eventually leave us, this abandonment and rejection wounds that we're carrying. We need to examine our feelings, process those feelings, and then make conscious decisions about how we're going to react. What are we going to talk about? What is it we need to clear up with our partner? It's the only way of taking away the pressure that can build up in a relationship, which usually ends to the relationship falling apart and then inevitably ending. We want relationships that are fun. Nobody wants to get into a relationship and call it work. We say, it's Monday, I've got to go to work, so I'm going to just muddle through this, and thank God it's Friday. We don't want to feel the same way with our partner. We want to be excited to be with that person. Our partner, the person we choose to go through life with, should be a thank God it's Friday all the time. Why do we say thank God it's Friday? Because it's relaxing, it's fun, it's playtime, right? Work is a task. It's something I got to do. I got to get it right or I'm going to be fired. You don't want that in your relationship, all right? So let's talk a little bit about how we could go about healing our insecurities, because our attachment style is very much linked to these insecurities. Our attachment style, which they've been shaped from our early experiences with our caregivers, they play a really important role in how we navigate our relationships, how we show up in our relationships. They are generally influenced by these insecurities that we've had since our childhood. They impact the way or our ability to trust other people, to communicate effectively. I know a lot of times we think that because we could speak up, because we could talk, because we could get words out in sentences, and we could talk for minutes or hours, it means we could communicate, which is not necessarily true. Communication means really to be able to say something where the other person can understand what we're saying, what we're asking for. It's not about them reading between the lines. That's expecting a little too much of another human being. We generally think that, yes, the person should read between the lines when we don't look at their emotional intelligence. And it's got nothing to do with age. Not because someone is in their 20s or 30s or 40s, it means that they should be able to be emotionally intelligent. Emotional intelligence comes from being able to empathize, to put ourselves in someone else's shoes, not sympathize Empathize. It means to put ourselves in the person's skin. What might they be feeling or thinking? Learning how to read people's body language, the tone in their voice, the expressions on their faces. That is not easy for every human being to do. It's a muscle that needs developing. So we want to learn how to communicate, and the key word here is effectively. And that is how we're going to build the deep connections that we're searching for. Now, mindfulness and awareness is key to all of this. We want to be absolutely mindful of how our triggers are affecting us emotionally, and how it might be provoking us to react or respond. We want to get to that point because most of us, where we are when we've just gotten on the healing journey, or if we've been on it for a little while, when we don't know how to control our reactions and our responses, it's generally because we're unable to catch the trigger. Somebody might say something or they do something, and we are instantly triggered. And what we do is we react. We either turn and walk away, we shut down, we push back, either by shouting or throwing something or breaking something, but we react and we respond. What we want to be able to do is be mindful of the trigger. We want to hear the person say something or watch them do something and catch how we feel. Oh, you did this thing? Oh, it hurts. Oh, I'm angry. Oh, I feel rejected. And then find that feeling within you and say, okay, you're talking to yourself. Okay, I'm being triggered here. Now that means I am aware. I'm aware that something outside of me is making me feel a certain way. And now what it allows me to do is, okay, now get in my head, make a decision. How will I respond and react to this? Now I have a choice. Now I'm in control, not my trauma brain. I can choose to check in with my feeling and say to that person, I'm not feeling very comfortable right now. I need to process how I feel. I need some time to get very specific and articulate exactly what I'm feeling, because I might be feeling rejected. I might be feeling neglected, abandoned, hurt, sad. Could be a number of things going on there. And it's never, ever just one thing. I can be feeling hurt and sad and rejected all at the same time. But all I can tell you right now, and most of us will go through this, we may not be able to tune into exactly what feelings those are. What we can say is, I feel uncomfortable in my chest, or there's a sudden pain in my stomach. Or I might be feeling a pain in my head, some part of my head, or a tenseness in my jaw. That's the most that we might have in that moment. That allows us, it gives us a signal that it's time to slow down, step away from the situation, give it some time. And I'm not talking about 5 minutes here, because what I've learned is that as time moves on, it might be hours, it might be days, it might be weeks or months. Something will happen and you'll be like, oh, that's why that happened. That's why I felt that way. That's why I couldn't pinpoint exactly where those feelings were coming from. But in time, a shorter period of time, and maybe a few hours or a day, you might be able to come back to your partner and say, you know what? I was thinking about that feeling I had, and this is how I feel about it. It also gives you the time and the space will also give you the opportunity to process and allow your brain to see what's really relevant. Am I just spewing about every thought and feeling I have here, which this person may not understand? One of the things we do is we start to talk about our trauma with people who have never lived it. We start to say, oh, you don't understand my trauma. My parent abandoned me. This ex treated me this way. And here you are doing the same thing. Okay, well and good. But that does not help the other person to feel what you felt. They will never be able to appreciate exactly what your needs are. This is why I keep saying that the boundaries we set should be with ourselves, because we know what we have felt. Coming to them and saying, oh, I've gone through so much in my past, and this is how my trauma affected me. This is how that ex affected me. only puts pressure on the other person. They don't know how to show up for you after that. They feel as though it's their responsibility to not hurt your feelings, to cradle your feelings. And that is not fair because they will never be able to do it. It's something that we have to do for ourselves. When we start to process our emotions, what we're doing is allowing ourselves to see that we can handle this. We're in control of our emotions. It would be nice if people show up for you, for sure. But you want to be able to show up for you first. So mindfulness, be aware of what you're feeling, right? Be aware of what's going on around you and how that's affecting you internally, and choose to make decisions. This is an exercise that takes time. And that brings me to the next point. We want to be able to forgive ourselves, to be gentle with ourselves, and to find compassion for ourselves. The reason for that is when we're on this healing journey, a lot of times we slip into old patterns, and it can make us feel as though we're not making any progress, and we start to beat up on ourselves. We have to be gentle with ourselves. This is a journey that's probably going to be with us for the rest of our lives. The moment you get on a healing journey, it never stops because you're always going to be evolving. You're never going to find a point in your life where it's like you just stop growing. That's it. No more growth to be done here. You want to give this time and allow yourself the opportunity to move with whatever is happening. Just enjoy the growth process. See where you've been in the past and how much you've grown right now. Be gentle with yourself. Now, this is going to be incredibly helpful for your relationships. Why? Because when you can forgive yourself, when you can be gentle with yourself, when you can find that compassion for yourself, then it's much easier to do it for the other person, because you start to recognize that you've struggled through your healing journey. You have struggled in pinpointing emotions and learning to communicate and all of these fun things that comes with healing, setting boundaries and all of it. And so you could now appreciate that it's not easy for us to go through. It's harder for the other person as well. I mean, not harder, I meant it's hard for the other person as well. And so we want to be able to give them grace as well. What we do find in a lot of our relationships is that it's easier for us to empathize with somebody else and find compassion for them. And we think that, yes, I'm a good person to everybody else. I will tell you right now, it can't possibly be true. Because if you don't know how to be good to yourself, there is no meter on how you're going to be good to another person, right? You don't know why. Usually, we're nice to other people. We're good to other people, kind to other people, because there's a part of us that's hoping that we're going to be rewarded for it. It doesn't mean we're not good people. It means that there's something on a deeper level that's provoking this goodness and this kindness within us. We're looking for something. We've got an agenda. All right? When we can learn to love ourselves, truly love ourselves, respect ourselves, set those boundaries, then we can appreciate another human being. So forgive yourself, find that compassion, be gentle. Meditation and reflection has helped me a lot on my healing journey. My way of meditation has not always been to sit in one spot and focus on my breathing for minutes or hours. Although that's how it started. I started more with gentle meditation where I just learned how to relax my body, focus on my breathing a little bit. But what I found at the beginning stages of my meditation was that I could not shut up my mind. And a lot of times people feel like, if you're going to start meditating, then you have to quiet the mind. Well, good luck with that, because what happens is, let's say, okay, I'm 44 right now. Let's say I've not done any work on myself. I've not looked into my past at how things have affected me, relationships that ended. I've not paid attention. Let's just imagine for 44 years, I've done none of those things. What will happen? What will happen is that Now that I'm sitting quietly with all of these lovely thoughts, I will not be able to tune out anything. Everything will come flooding back to me. I'm going to start thinking about the death of my first best friend when we were 8 years old. I would think about the death of my mother when I was 14 years old. I would think about the breakups that I've had, the abusive relationships, I would all of these would come rushing back. And there is no way that my mind would be able to say, okay, don't think about that right now. Don't think about it. I can try, but they're going to keep coming back because I've not really processed them. What happens, and what I would advise in the beginning stages of your meditative practices, is look at the thoughts. Relax your body. Take a few deep breaths and then relax into what your mind is bringing up. What's screaming at you? Is it the death of that person, the loss of that relationship, the regrets? What is coming up? Just watch those thoughts. Do that for a while, a few weeks if you can. I don't advise people to just fixate on specific times. For me personally, the best time to meditate for me is early in the morning. But I've grown into meditating at any hour of the day as I walk down the streets. But initially, when you start, don't put added pressure on yourself. Just promise yourself that for you, you're going to get into the practice of doing something that's good for you. But you're just going to sacrifice, I'm going to give myself 5 minutes to sit with my thoughts. Just sit there, watch where they are, watch where they're going. After a period of time, you're going to find that you want to deal with one particular thought. One just keeps playing over and over. What you want to do is start to question that in your meditation. Why is this thought coming up? What emotions are coming up here for me? What can I do about this? What wants to be heard? How did I feel? And then put yourself in the age you were when that thing happened. Find compassion for that child or that teenager or that adult and recognize that that person you were back then dealt with the situation as best as you could. There's nothing that can be changed. Now, what can you learn? What can you learn from that experience for the future? Those are some of the exercises you could start to do in your meditation. And as you answer these questions through meditation, you'll find that it's already been resolved. There's no need for it to play over in your mind. Recently, I read someone posted something on social media saying that the way you know that you have healed, might have been Joe Dispenza, I'm not sure, but the way you know that you've healed is when you don't think about the experience anymore. And I'm paraphrasing, right? It's not that you don't speak about it. A lot of times we could choose not to speak about something, but we remember and it plays over in our minds. But when you don't remember it, and a personal share, I remember maybe 10 years ago, I had written the 13th draft of a memoir, my story. And I'd written about so many uncomfortable experiences I've had, but it was 13 times of writing it. And I realized just writing, reliving it over and over and over had a powerful effect. I did not think it was going to happen. I was able to let go of it because in the writing, I was able to process. And because I repeated it over and over and over, my mind made peace with a lot of things that had happened in my past, right? So try this practice, see how it goes. Another great meditative practice is to put your fingers together, 2 fingers together, and slowly rub them, the tips of your fingers, rub them together and try to feel the ridges of your, what's it called? The fingerprint, your fingerprint. Try to feel the ridges of it. And what you would realize, I'm doing it as I encourage you to do it. I'm doing it in this moment. And so I'm a little distracted because what it does is it makes you forget about everything else that's going on. So it's a great exercise for when things are a little tumultuous in your emotional life. If you're feeling a little overwhelmed, it's a great exercise, and you could do it anywhere and no one needs to see or know about it. It brings you to the present. I love walking exercises or meditations as well. My idea of a walking meditation is to zero in on the furthest sound that my ear can pick up. So if you're walking in the park, try to find a bird that's chirping far off, or the rustling of leaves. Try to focus there, and it clears your mind. It stops your mind from thinking about anything else, and it allows you to process when you are ready to think. So give that a go. Let me know how you feel about it, if you try them and how they work for you. And I would love for it if you could share me if you are meditating, what is it you've been practicing and what's working for you? And permission to share it with others, because you know what? We could all learn from our experiences and share it and grow together. Another healing tool that I've used, continue to use, is gratitude and appreciation. The more we could build up the muscle for gratitude, the happier we'll be. I don't share this often with people, but I've got children who happen to be, my favorite little beings. I love talking with them and hanging out with them and laughing with them. And I'm always grateful for them, that they were lent to me, that I was the vessel used to bring them into this world. And just being in that space of gratitude, even if I'm at a cafe and I think about them and I smile, or, just thinking of being with them, people will gravitate towards me. And gratitude has been shown to have that very effect, where people want to be in your circle. So if you're in a relationship that's not going so great, try gratitude. Think about what you're grateful for. We have amazing friends. We have, some of us would have a job that we might be happy for. Even if we're not happy about the job, it pays the bills. That's something to be grateful for. We may have a home, a roof over our heads, that we don't have to worry that the weather is going to affect us when the weather isn't that great. We can eat. We have food. There's so much to be grateful for. Turn on the news. If you turn on the news, you'll see there is a lot to be grateful for. And be in that space of gratitude. Do that in your meditation as well. And look at how that energy will attract your partner to you, or even attract an ex to you. If you want to know more about attracting a past love or the right love, I do have a podcast that's called The Art of Attracting Love. You probably want to check that out. It's where I talk more about the energies that we can embody to bring that person towards us. But for now, try these practices so that you could heal your insecurities. And how does all of this play into healing an insecurity? It shows you that you are an incredibly powerful, powerful, powerful being. You can make anything happen for you in this life. I know you can. Until next time, I'm Annalisa.